Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and in today's video we got more updates for classes, general class updates for patch 9.1. In this update we have a couple class updates for the PvE portion of the game, general updates to some of these classes and their outputs, but majority of this update is going to be yet another swing at PvP changes. Blizzard is committed to changing up and refreshing some of the honor talents, so expect a lot of honor talent and PvP talent updates in this video. And we're also going to be taking a look at some of those honor talents in terms of what they look like, as some new animations and abilities have been added to specs, which are looking quite interesting and are sure to shake up the game if they are to be released as is in 9.1. Let's take a look at all of these updates. First class on the list is going to be Demon Hunter. Mostly the Havoc Demon Hunter, since Vengeance is really good, but Havoc has been struggling on single target, so it looks like Blizzard is trying to improve their single target by buffing the damage of Demon's Bite as well as Demon's Blade's talent, together with Chaos Strike as well as Annihilation, which is Chaos Strike just inside of your Metamorphosis, are also all buffed by 15%. With buffs come nerfs, and Unbound Chaos talent will increase the damage of a Flower Rush instead of 600%, 500%. This should hopefully be a significant change and a buff for Havoc Demon Hunters in single target performance, since quite a lot of their damage output, looking at the logs solely, revolves around Demon's Bite, but also in major part Chaos Strike, especially the Chaos Strike damage as well as the Annihilate damage, which is quite crucial. So hopefully they should see a better single target performance, especially going into the next patch. The AoE damage is going to be cut down a little bit, but it makes sense since just about every single Demon Hunter in single target raids in AoE situations is playing Unbound Chaos. Overwhelming majority of Demon Hunters are choosing it over the other talents, so maybe Blizzard probably thought that, hey, we overbuffed this thing, it's way too good in a row. I think Unbound Chaos is still going to be the choice for a variety of AoE situations for Demon Hunters, but in single target, that's where it could get competitive. I haven't looked at the sims, so I don't really know just how far ahead this talent is in that row, but maybe this nerf just won't even change the meta at all. Then we have some changes to Subtlety Rogues, with Blizzard trying to buff their PvE performance a little bit. First, all rogues are getting a slightly longer duration of Feint, which reduces your AoE damage. This is going to be pretty good in PvP and PvE, since there are talents that correlate with it. For sub-rogues, Circuit Storm rank 2 is now making it more likely to crit, so keeping up Find Weakness in AoE should be easier. Black Powder damage itself has been increased by 33%. But the Find Weakness aspect has been reduced slightly. I think overall it's an AoE net positive. Shadow Techniques now triggers more frequently. Backstab and Gloomblade do more damage. Subtlety is not a bad spec to play. It's objectively super fun, but it's just not super good at single target compared to Assass or AoE compared to Outlaw. So this is going to be a nice buff for AoE and might give it a little bit of a punchy damage that could be good in Mythic Plus keys. As for single target output, I don't think it's going to change too much. Backstab isn't a huge component of most sub-rogue single target performance, and even in all raid situations, you're running the double Shadow Dance build, which lets you Shadow Strike basically the whole time, which isn't a bad build. It's just, I feel like backstab builds will become stronger if Subtlety Rogues stay and go for, let's say, Dark Shadow playstyle, where you only get one dance, therefore more backstabs. And maybe that's what Blizzard is trying to do, trying to promote this build so you don't lose nearly as much damage, just chipping away at the enemy with backstab. Don't really know if this will be enough to make Gloomblade better. We'll have to wait and see. This seems like kind of a band-aid on the spec, but potentially in AoE it could be a little bit better. Hopefully we'll see more Subtlety Rogues represented in the future. Then we got some updates to Druids. We're going to start off with their honor talents, and from this point in the video we're going to be talking about the PvP side of the game. Balanced Druid have a couple new talents. First of all, Celestial Guardian has been slightly redesigned. You still take 10% less damage from spells, but instead of receiving 20% more healing, you'll now be able to cast Moonfire while in bearer form, reducing the self-survivability of a Druid if they end up going Celestial Guardian, but it does give you at least some offensive power with Moonfire, being still able to spread your dots everywhere, so it's kind of a trade-off. We'll see if Druids end up running this one in the future. This next honor talent has some potential though, as Alkin Adept has been added to the game. Alkin Frenzy reduces the cast time of your next Cyclone and Entangle Roots by 50%, and can stack up to 2 times. Right now on the PTR, this honor talent does not work at all, but we can always imagine what it's going to look like once it does. I think it's going to be very similar to instant cast cyclones that pharaohs used to have back in the day, which is going to give lots of control for the druid that's running this honor talent. Imagine getting chased down by a warrior that trinketed for some reason or another, and you have a bash ready, he builds up a couple of those Alcyon frenzies, cycle in the healer, bash the warrior, convoke him down, and now you're just a CC bot with massive amount of control out of nowhere, especially if you're the one being trained. This could be a tricky situation for players playing against boomies in the future, and it definitely could be a very interesting choice of honor talents to run. For Feral Druids, we got a new talent called Wicked Claws. Infected Wounds now stacks up to 2 times, and has a Mortal Strike effect attached to it. When it stacks 2 times, it looks like it's a 25% healing reduction overall. This effect can stack up from Rake as well as Rip, so maintaining these stacks shouldn't be all that difficult. A common combo we see a lot in World of Warcraft PvP is a combination of a melee and a caster cleave, where the melee usually brings some sort of CC, or maybe better a Mortal Strike effect, while the caster is able to blast away. So Feral having a Mortal Strike effect, I feel like might make it a bit better of a melee to consider in more comps, since you now bring a Mortal Strike effect, and now you can pair yourself with a class that doesn't bring any kind of Mortal Strike effect for a bit more pressure. I think this change, if anything, standardizes Druid a bit more compared to the other melee, and could give him more opportunities in the future. But with new honor talents, we also saw nerfs for Feral with their Ferocious Wound talent, which is quite popular amongst Ferals for the most part. It will now only stack up to 2 times, so you can't reduce the enemy's health below 10%. Also, let's say Rip to Rip and Tear, as that honor talent has been removed completely from Feral Druids in this recent update. Guardian Druids got a nifty new honor talent called Emerald Slumber, where you embrace the Emerald Dream, literally going to sleep. While sleeping, all of your cooldowns recover 400% faster, and allies within 40 yards are healed for quite a bit of healing over 8 seconds. So this could allow Druids in PvP to gain cooldowns very quickly, especially as someone who is maybe running flags in RBGs. But they also got a new honor talent called Grove Protection. Summon a grove to protect allies in the area, reducing damage taken by 40% from enemies outside of the grove. So as long as your allies are in the grove, they actually take a 40% DR as long as they stand next to this tree looking thing. It's kind of cool. I don't think it's a final animation for it, but definitely looks kind of neat and gives more group utility for Druids. For rest of Druids, we have Keeper of the Grove changed. Tranquility's healing is now increased by 100% while unable to be interrupted. Instead of healing over time effect increased by 200%, which makes it a bit more of a burst AoE heal ability that could potentially be better than just applying a healing over time to your allies for that mastery stack. Finally, with Brewmaster Monks, we saw the return of Nimble Brew. Nimble Brew will now douse your allies in a targeted area with Nimble Brew, preventing the next full loss of control ability for the next 8 seconds. Not that we see a lot of Brewmaster Monks in RBGs as tanks or in any PvP situations, but potentially this could give them something interesting and new, as they now have ACC immunity, which could be useful in group situations, maybe as someone running flags in RBGs. Next, we have Rampage for Fury Warriors, where Rampage reduces the healing that the target takes by 15% per stack. Rampage is a full part hitter, so essentially you can maintain, whenever you use Rampage, a 60% healing reduction on an enemy. With full cooldowns, a Fury Warrior can actually Rampage back to back. Whereas Arms Warriors have a 25% MS, Fury Warriors are getting a 60% MS. It doesn't have the same duration as Mortal Strike duration, but it's like having a sharpened blade every time you Rampage, which is quite powerful. Now, the question is, first of all, for any of you Fury Warriors, does this cleave? This is one of the questions my guildies actually asked. And no, it turns out this ability currently doesn't cleave. Maybe Blizzard will add a component in the future, but even without the cleave, this MS effect is quite strong. And I think with a interesting setup for your talents, you might actually be able to play a build where you can Rampage over and over at the enemy, putting tremendous amount of pressure. Potentially, are we going to be seeing Fury Warriors in patch 9.1 PvP? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. The only update I didn't get to cover are rogue updates, but I made a separate video to talk about rogue honor talents and all the different PvP changes that they're getting. Be sure to check out this video, link down below if you guys want to check it out. But otherwise, what do you guys think about all these class updates? Do you think they're good or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the regular content, give this video a like, hit subscribe if you want to see more patch 8.1 stuff, hit the bell, and as always boys, I'll see all of you in another video.